Good evening, everybody. Please stand. Welcome to the City of Parker, February the 18th council meeting. Brother Chappell, you do the invocation for us.
Oh Lord, bless this council as we meet tonight and approve the items on the list to make sure we do the right thing. And bless our firefighters and our police force that they will stay out of harm's way. I'll ask all this in your name.
Amen.
Amen.
Marley B.
People are thinking so will be.
You ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Please be seated. There's only one addition this week, and it'll be item 4, and we're going to discuss the fire chief's position. But as it stands right now, would you please call the roll?
Miss Barrow?
Here.
Miss Bodiford? Here. Mr. Chappell?
Here,
Mr. Haney? And Mayor Kelly.
Here, thank you, ma'am. Is there any items from the audience? If there are, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Okay, first item is item 1, and it's approval of the meetings, minutes from the meeting of February the 7th.
I make a motion that we approve it.
We have
second,
a first and a second. Madam Clerk, will you please call a roll?
Miss Barrow?
Yes.
Miss Bodiford? Yes. Mr. Chappell?
yes,
Mr. Haney?
Yes.
And Mayor Kelly.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm a little ahead of myself. Item 2, recommendation for the award from Anchorage. Yeah, there you are. How are you, Miss Moore?
Good.
Don't trip over the string that we got up there. It's for the speaker.
Got a little war stories with my previous colleague back there. As you all know, this has been a few minutes coming, but this is a recommendation of award for the water system improvements that's being funded by the state revolving fund. Bids were open September 23, and the apparent low bidder was Rural American Construction, and then with the, sure I got this right. You did not take the deductive alternate, so the total amount was $6,144,264. And Anchor has evaluated their bid and has spoken with them. That number is still good, so we recommend award to Royal American Construction.
Okay, very good. We have to vote on this.
I
Mr.
make a
Sloan.
motion that we award it to them.
Got a motion to award to Royal American. Do we have a second? We have a second. Madam Clerk?
Miss Barrow?
Yes.
Miss Bodiford? Yes. Mr. Chappell?
yes.
Mr. Haney? Yes. And Mayor Kelly.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am, very much. Been a long time. We're going to get to that. It's the rate study. Is the gentleman here for the rate study? He is. Hey, how are you, sir?
Don't know how to work the.
We'll figure it out.
Do you have a computer? Oh, you have
I
a
do
flash
have a
drive.
computer.
The computer would probably be best to hook
If you could plug into that hangman's noose she's put there for you. Before we get started, could you state your name and your position for the record so that the audience and the citizens of Parker that watch online can know what we're talking about.
Absolutely. My name is Mike Chase. I'm a engineer for the Florida Rural Water Association. We were tasked with doing a capacity fee analysis for the system, for the water system. This is not a rate analysis. That will come when your asset management plan is finalized, prepared. This is for capacity fee, it's all part of the presentation, but the capacity fees are for new development. People who are coming in currently, based on our analysis, your capacity fees are a little low. And so
Okay.
just want to present what we found and let y'all make some decisions.
Do you have an HDMI cable with you, by chance? No, okay. Yeah, it's not registering.
Maybe I could just verbalize it.
Okay.
I'll keep working while you talk.
Okay. Thankfully, I printed one up, so. Maybe. All right. Like I said, Mike Chase, Florida Rural Water. We do appreciate the invitation to come in and do a little rate analysis or capacity fee analysis for you. I know your staff works hard to maintain the level of service that the citizens demand. So this should help them out, help your staff out, help this community out to offset some of the costs. We just awarded $6.1 million. It'd be nice to have something coming in instead of everything going out. Also, I guess kudos to the city for taking advantage of the services that Florida Rural Water does offer. We've got an asset management going on. We have a circuit rider that comes around. Last time I was here, he showed up unannounced by me. So please take advantage of the services that are offered. This is all part of your membership. You pay dues to Florida Rural Water, and this is part of your membership. Florida Rural Water, just a little quick overview of Florida Rural Water. We specialize in water and wastewater systems, help you maintain compliance. We have a whole 25 people on staff that do compliance
Sir,
issues.
I'm very sorry to interrupt you. Can I borrow your laptop?
Absolutely.
Who are you, sir?
Nobody.
Okay.
Once I say my name, I'm on payroll.
That's my IT. He's my IT.
I thought it was CJ.
It is.
No, I know it's IT now, huh?
Yeah, it works with IT. Now that remote
HDMI.
should have an HDMI.
Here it is.
Nope, that's just blue.
He was doing fine until you
There you
messed
go.
him up.
Yeah. But see, it's funny how it works. Now it's on the screen.
All right, let's sit over there.
No. She had a remote. You had a remote?
No, he had something. Here we go.
Hold on a second.
We'll play bingo now.
Can you put cartoons on instead?
Oh, don't say that. I want to buy some bingo.
You like that, huh?
Is it
Look
on,
at you.
Is it on the click?
Yeah, I don't have it.
Okay.
That's fine. I'll do my best to advance. Is this
Okay,
where you're at?
here's Florida Rural Water, a little summary of what
Can you turn
Florida
that
Rural
light
Water is all
off
about.
back there?
He's really good at that.
We do have, we need to update this. There's more than 2,000 cities, towns, special districts, and utilities, both nonprofit and for-profit utilities throughout Florida that we represent. In the lines of the finances, which is what I'm here to talk about, we've completed over 1,000 financial and rate studies for communities throughout Florida. Florida Rural Water's been around for about 30 years, I think early 80s, so that put it more than 30 years. We do our rate studies and our capacity fee studies So far, I've never had a legal challenge, which isn't always the case. There's some over in the northeast area that are up in arms. But we attempt and we do use a sound, rational, and methodical procedures to make these determinations. By statute, we're required to. So we gotta have a rational nexus to determine these fees. We use tested industry standards like AWWA to do useful life of your parts and pieces in the system. Strong legal footing under Florida statutes and case law. All right, here's how we get our money in to pay for the $6.1 million project that's coming. Number one, rates. Everyone kind of understands rates. The rates are, they pay your debt service, they pay your O&M, they pay for the day-to-day in your system. Capacity fees are a one-time buy-in for new customers. Your existing ratepayers aren't affected by your capacity fees. Connection charges, these are, okay, I don't know, in my opinion, $500 that you charge for capacity fees right now is more like a connection charge where, you know, you're paying for the meter and the labor to get out there and the gas in the truck to get out there. So you got connection charge. And then there are other fees, late charges, turn-offs, et cetera, like that. Add up, I guess. So, what are capacity fees? One-time charge assessed for new connections to reimburse the utility system for capital and fixed costs needed to provide capacity. And that's key to understand that what we're doing is buying capacity in your system. Now, capacity is, okay, your treatment plant has capacity. Okay, that's understandable. You don't have a treatment plant, but you have capacity at your treatment plant. There's also a capacity in your pipes and pumps that needs to be assessed. And that's all part of this study. Fixed costs, you have pumps and pipes, you don't have the other stuff. So you can make it good.
Okay.
Thank you. Growth pays for growth. That's what these are about. This isn't a rate study. Your rates are different. It's completely different. How shall we pay for growth? That's everybody wants that question. Now, Parker, I don't know how much growth potential there is, but a little's better than none. So, should existing ratepayers pay for support system expansion to accommodate growth? Let's say you have a 4-inch pipe going down Temple Parkway. Now some big development comes in. Now we need an 8-inch pipe. Who's supposed to pay for that? Your existing customers or the people who are building the new stuff then? Let's say in my opinion, the new people. Because they're the ones using that capacity. Alright, I don't really like this analogy, but we use it anyway. Seats on a bus. Okay, we got a bus. We got 20 seats on the bus. We got 13 people on the bus. They're paying for the gas and the tires and all that other stuff. Now we get 7 more people show up. They gotta pay for their seat. They gotta be able to pay for that capacity. So rates pay for operation and debt, like I just said. But so in this analogy, gas, tires, repairs, etc., like that. Capacity fees are for the new passengers. They pay for their seat. This establishes a fair and equitable cost for the new people. The objectives: new development pays for its own way. Minimize debt or reduce the need for future debt. When you get these capacity fees, by statute, you're required to kind of set them aside for capital projects, which would be projects that could be future debt if you didn't have these fees. Also, it allows you to maintain an appropriate level of cash reserves to meet capital needs. So you have a pump go down, you gotta renew that. One more fee really needed. Everything costs money, but this fee deals with the growth. So you don't put it on your existing customers. That doesn't seem fair. So Florida maintain adequate levels of service for public facilities, all public facilities. If we're talking about water and wastewater. To anticipate and prepare for growth. It takes many years to build capacity. I mean, the system grows and expands and so in that growth and expansion requires upgrades on pipes and things like that to get to where you have the capacity to serve all your people. In addition, water and wastewater utilities must maintain infrastructure in good operating condition. That's kind of speaks for itself. You can't have wastewater flowing down the streets and you can't have, water leaks springing up everywhere. Requires adequate funding and continual repair and replacement of R&R, renewal and replacement. Just keep up with normal uses and aging. And all these can be addressed in the capacity fees. How to determine capacity? Just tonight, Elizabeth said, well, what's other people, what are your neighbors doing? That's not, in this situation, it might be a good barometer for the capacity fees because everyone's kind of in the same situation. You're buying your water from Bay County, you're sending your wastewater to Bay County. In other situations, you can't compare Bonifay to the Defuniac because Bonifay's system may be spread out over, 50 miles, square miles, whereas Defuniac may be a more densely populated area. So it takes 1,000 feet to serve 10 houses in Bonifay, where it takes 100 feet to serve 10 houses in Defuniac. So you can't really equate a system, a neighbor, so to speak. Capacity fee determination is basically the capacity of your system, your infrastructure, the cost of that capacity divided by an equivalent residential connection. It all comes back to the equivalent residential connection. A single family house is different than a Winn-Dixie. So if we base it on one equivalent residential connection, a single family house, then everything else steps up from that. If Winn-Dixie needs, 400 gallons a minute, then they pay more per ERC. There are two options that we've seen that people consider for their capacity fee determination. The remaining useful life basis, which provides a value of the existing assets based on current condition and years they are expected to continue functioning. The AWWA, two W's I remember, but AWWA establishes an anticipated useful life for all the parts and pieces. A pump, maybe 10 years or 15 years. Concrete tank, 50 years. An elevated storage tank, 50 years. And that's one of the examples we use why remaining useful life is not a recommended method to establish your capacity fees. We've got tanks, I don't think we got some in Tallahassee, but we got tanks in the Panhandle for sure. They're 70 years old. AWWA, let's say the industry standard says that that a tank lasts 50 years. Now so if we're using that tank to assess your capacity fees, in our analysis, that's gonna be a $0 asset, which it's really not. It's still standing there. The water's still creating pressure. It still works. Meanwhile, there's another option, the replacement value, where we take all your assets, all your infrastructure, and put it if we had to rebuild it right now, that's how much it's going to cost. That's the one that we recommend. Now, it's your decision. But recommended capacity fees. These are the numbers that came out. I think you were provided a little, the calculator, the spreadsheet that now may have changed at the last minute, so it may be a little different, but I've got fresh copies if you need them. But recommended water capacity fees. Your current capacity fee, like we spoke about earlier, $500 per ERC. I don't know, I'm not be able to speak to it, but it seems like that's a connection fee in most cases. Just because of the parts and pieces you need to make that connection plus the labor, $500 seems to be Option A, remaining useful life, we would set that capacity fee for the water, connections at $1,500.80 per ERC. Option B, with the replacement value, we'd set that at $3,070 per ERC for the water system. As we said before, option B is what Florida wants. The recommendations, the water treatment plant costs for y'all is covered in your user rates with Bay County. So it's a little different than a typical. What I've done is, when you have water, usually you get 100 gallons going in for water, you get 85 gallons coming out for sewer. So you do have an established wastewater capacity based on the late 90s Bay County wastewater treatment plant. City of Parker bought in for 10.27, something like that, percent of that plant. So you have about 720,000 gallons a day capacity in the wastewater plant at Bay County. I use that number to back into the water capacity. Now your water capacity is pretty limitless currently with Bay County. So, but I have to have a number to be able to calculate capacity. So we use that. Now, under that scenario, you've got approximately 2,000 more drinking water service connections that you could make. I don't expect Parker would have 2,000 service connections or something, but, and if we could get 2,000, based on the option B with 3,000 per connection, we got $6.2 million in capacity fees that could be collected in the future as development comes in. Wastewater capacity fees, along those same lines. Current fees, $1,400 per ERC. Pretty reasonable, but still a little low. Option A, with the remaining useful life, we would recommend $2,820 per ERC. Option B, replacement value, $6,150 per ERC. Again, we recommend option B. Based on your flows right now, the discharge monitoring reports, or actually it's more of the billing reports, you're using about 31% of your wastewater treatment plant capacity. Your water billing report, it shows it a little higher, so maybe you have more water connections than you have wastewater, but this is why there's such a difference, 4,700 connections versus 2,000 in your possible connections moving forward. 31% of capacity of wastewater treatment plant is being used. You got a lot of room in there. 4,700 more service connections could be made before you reach 100% of your capacity. If we were able to get the option B for all 4,700, be about $29 million in capacity. It seems like a lot, but wastewater treatment plants are really expensive right now. I had some comments on the questions before we open it to questions. Let me see if I can. One other thing that we've seen that we would probably recommend, or that we do, is when you do draft the ordinance, to include a yearly accelerator using one of the industry standards. It's like an inflation rate, but there's Engineer News Record does a yearly adjustment, and Public Service Commission in Florida does a yearly adjustment. There's some others. Those two are the ones that we see the most. If you can use that, put that into the ordinance, then it's not something that we'd have to come back and readdress every year. Or, I mean, we do recommend that you take a look at it every 3 to 5 years, but if it's in the ordinance and every year you address it. I was doing one, I won't say the city, it's in the Central Florida area. 2004, they set their capacity charges and put it in their ordinance that every October 1st they would look at the Engineer News Record acceleration, inflation rate, and my number that I came up with without that matched by, within $100, a couple $100, what they would have done if they had done that every year with the engineering news record. They were, but they haven't been doing it. So their rates were still the 2004 rates. So they, and many of them, I don't want to mention the name, in this city, they have a tremendous growth, and they missed out. They missed out on all those capacity fees. For just, I don't know why. I don't know. Is it controversial to go by your ordinance? I don't know. Maybe. I know elected people get elected, so that's. But this isn't on your existing customers. And if you're a developer and you come in and you want water and wastewater, and they say you're too high, tell them to go price a septic tank and a well, and let me know how much it costs. $9,000 is cheap. Not cheap, but less expensive. I'd like to open it to questions.
So, good evening, council. I just want to bring it to speed a little bit. So I've been working on this for a little over 2 years. And when I first reached out to try to figure out how we were going to do this, I was told upwards of $80,000 to get this assessment. And luckily Florida Water stepped in with our population and everything. I think we got this assessment done for around $6,000. So the biggest thing for y'all to understand on this is this will not affect anybody that lives in Parker here right now. This will only affect someone that comes in to build in Parker. So like he's saying, if it's a vacant piece of land and you went and bought a piece of land and you had to put a well and septic tank on there, you're not gonna get it for $9,220. We had a development here recently. That's one reason that really got me driving hard on this. They came in to see about building in Parker. Our assessment fee was gonna be a little over $20,000. I sent the same project over to our neighboring city. Their assessment fee was over $80 for the same project. So this is how cheap Parker is. And this money can only be used, these impact fees can only be used to improve the system. It can't be used for anything else. This
For new construction.
restricted. So if we have a water line that's not big enough, like he's saying, it's gotta be bigger, then this money can be used for those. This money can be used to get more SRF projects to pay the payments on to make our infrastructure bigger and replace infrastructure. But it's strictly restricted. It can only be spent on improving the water system. But I definitely recommend going with replacement value. I still think the $9,220 is cheap. Me and him have had a talk back and forth about it. You know, you assess, the best thing you can do is assess how much our system's worth and what it would be worth new. But even with the project we got going on right now, $7 million roughly is not even doing a quarter of the city. And the assessment's basically saying the city's value is $13 million. So I would think it would be more like $28 million to have a contractor today come in the city, tear up all the roads and put all new plumbing in. So I think this is a fair price. If anybody has any other questions, you can ask him or me, but I'm asking the city and the city council to task Mr. Sloan to draft the ordinance or resolution to adopt this so we can get this in. So I've been trying to work on it as fast as I can because we have development going on. Our neighboring cities are getting bought up, apartments are coming in, stuff's coming in. You know, we need to get these fees because we're gonna be the ones trying to get that water and keep the infrastructure going to these developments. And we really need it. I said that we're also gonna send the connection, basically the tapping fees, the connection fees over to Mr. Sloan also to incorporate into this because we've contacted all the neighboring cities, the county and everyone, and we have the cheapest fees in the county. We are the cheapest place to build. I mean, it's unreal what some of these fees are. And one of the things that they're talking about in one of the managers meetings I went to is a lot of the counties are charging now for the businesses, they're charging, it's like a transportation impact fee. So if you build a business and you have 10 parking spots, you have to pay an impact fee to the city on what the impact to their roadways is gonna be for you to conduct business on their roads.
I'm very familiar with that.
Very familiar with that.
Yeah, and
We
so they were saying like, you know, if a movie theater moved in and it had 1,000 parking spots, it's $1 million transportation impact fee to the county for the parking, for the traffic that you're gonna generate on the road.
What timeline are you looking at on this, Tony?
This, like I said, this is gonna be as fast as.
You're asking us now to pass this to Mr. Sloan.
Correct. And then it's gonna be however long it takes him to draft an ordinance, because the second this is drafted and adopted, we can implement it.
Are you asking for us to vote on this tonight to give it to Mr. Sloan?
That's totally up to you, if you feel comfortable voting on it.
I got a question. If somebody was coming here and bought a piece of property and wanted to build a house, what is it gonna cost that person to hook into a new, where it's not
If
anything
there's
there?
nothing there, they're gonna have to pay the tap fee. Now, normally on sewer, it's $500 if a tap's already there, for the tap fee. If it's there, it's not, it's actual cost, whatever it takes the city to make it. Then the water tap fee is around, for the meter, the box, the backflow, all the, everything in that one around it, I think it's $860. But then the impact fee, which is this money here, would be $9,220. And that's basically us to maintain the water main and the sewer in front of our house for the life of them having a house.
But that number, Tone, Mr. Sumlin, if I'm not correct, those three figures, when you add those together, are added to the cost of the construction
If
and
someone's-
divided into the mortgage.
Right, if someone's building a house, if a developer.
Let's say with a
comes in,
house, yeah.
They're gonna add it on to the price itself.
So what was that approximate number of those three figures?
So 9,220, 500, and then I think it's 860, is that?
860, so about 10.5, approximately 10.5. So, and that's rolled into that construction of that house.
That's basically someone building a brand new house. I mean,
So-
you're not gonna get a septic tank for
If
that.
you get a $300,000 house and we roll that into it, what, have you done the math to see what that works out to be in monthly?
No, I haven't looked at anybody's payments or anything like that.
Okay,
I mean, I'm just looking at major development that's coming in right now,
okay,
you know,
Is that on a single-family dwelling?
yes.
that was.
So it escalates more.
It escalates on the size of the meter.
The amount of
So
gallons,
if it's a
amount of
3-4
gallons of
meter,
consumption.
It's one ERC like he's saying. Then
But
if-
again, it's still rolled into the price of the construction.
Correct. So like if.
But you said it doesn't affect current people who
No.
live here.
No.
now.
Nothing for the people who are here.
New home or new business. So.
I'm gonna ask you a dumb question.
Sure.
Let's just say 9,000, okay?
Mhm.
What is it in other municipalities around here, you know?
So a lot of them have a fixture, they count by the fixtures. So,
You mean by that, how many toilets, how many sinks, how many?
by the ERCs, they go by how many toilets, how many sinks, how many dishwashers.
Okay.
How many everything. Like, you know, I think the Candlewood over there paid Callaway over 100,000.
Okay,
You know, then like for us, so if somebody wanted a 2-inch meter going to a laundromat, it would be 8 times 9,000. So it'd be $72,000 for a 2-inch meter to be set.
is it too late to get the hotel to pay their fee?
So, like I said, that hotel's going to Callaway,
Okay. Okay,
but that's the kind of fee they're paying Callaway compared to what they'd pay us.
Callaway has some strong fees up in Gary on.
Tony, how is that impact fee broken down between water and sewer?
So it's 3,070 for water, 6,150 for sewer.
so a third, a third, yeah. 2/3 and a third. And it will not affect pre-existing, and it won't affect the people that live here now. In fact, it'll only help them.
Well, and it'll help the residents that are here.
It'll help the system that's already in place.
Right, because that money can be used to improve and change the system.
Yeah.
And fix the system that's currently here. You know, because the system has to be upgraded. It's over
Yeah.
50 years old.
Yeah.
We're increasing the water lines all down Tundra Parkway
Yeah.
from 6-inch to 8-inch. We're getting rid of the 2 inches and bringing them up to 6-inch or bigger. You know, everything that we replace, it has to go bigger. It can't stay the same size.
No. Well, you know, I'm an advocate of 8,
I
so
understand.
I don't want nothing smaller than 8 going in,
Understand.
so. Okay,
We can't compare it to, a septic tank and a pump because in Parker, I'm pretty sure you can't have it anyway unless you're over 100 feet away from the the service thing, and that's,
Even today, I think we're gonna make them have a grinder, aren't we? Push it.
You have to change the ordinance. Right now, it says if they're under 100 feet away, then they don't have to hook up.
Why don't other municipalities, you have to hook up to city sewer and city water?
well, you do here. You do here unless you're over 100 feet away from the meter.
See, 100 feet, there's no gravity, so there's not enough room for it to fall.
The problem we have is some of the, and it's all grandfathered in back in the day, but some of the houses you have, like over on South Lakewood, they're so far down, they're over 100 feet. Now, today, you could make them go on a grinder station and pump, but our ordinance is still wrote that if it's over 100 feet, it's a hardship, they don't have to. Most of all of them
We have
hook
a
up to
pumping
water, but not
station.
sewer.
Yeah, we have a pumping station.
That's right.
Way out in Nottingham,
To push it to where it's got a discharge, that's right.
a long way, 800 feet.
But see, like.
Well, I guess what he's asking, council, is we have to decide if you wanna ask Mr. Sloan to write an ordinance to make the change from what we currently have to all of the new users paying this amount. And you said we had about 2,000 taps left in our system,
Yeah.
water taps.
That's what they're looking at, what our max capacity.
Right.
So I'm open to answering any more questions, you know, I mean, what we have right now is ridiculously cheap.
Yep.
I mean, it is. I mean, $500 to tap on the city's water system doesn't even hardly cover, you know.
I wish we knew the math for a new house, what that tabulates to be when you add those three figures, because I can't help but think, but it's only pennies on a day over a period of 30 years.
Depends on where you're getting your mortgage through and what your.
That's right, and how much you buy.
How much you
Mhm.
buy.
$10,580.
Me personally, I would sit there and I might say this the wrong way, but me personally, I would think it's just a matter of how much money the contractor wants to make.
Right.
It just depends on how much you build the house and mark it up to.
Is there not any way you could start it off lower and escalate it like every year or two or something instead of it boom all at once?
Well, the problem is like.
Well, it wouldn't matter because you're not impacting nobody that's already
I
here.
understand that.
And
So if you want to come here, you got to pay to
No,
pay.
we don't run them off, but
You'd have to pay to play if you want to
if
come
they
here.
built somewhere
Yeah.
else, then they're looking at a
Well, my
a
question
higher
is
fee.
how do these numbers, go against other,
Competitively.
It would be competitive.
Competitively with our neighbors.
so it's roundabout the same?
Yes.
So no matter if you go to Callaway, Springfield, Panama City, they're roundabout still paying the
Or
same
more.
or more?
No, it's competitive if we move to these new numbers. We're below the competitive rate right now.
Right, yeah, and that's what I was saying, I wanna
Yeah.
make sure that
We're-
we're not
it's
sitting there
fair,
trying to
yeah.
overshoot where somebody can move right across the street to Callaway.
Yep.
And it's cheaper. If we're competitive and close to the same,
And like he said, he's got it listed here, the Public Service Commission on that page there, that's 10 years worth of increases. You know, the city has not had an impact rate increase as long as I've been here, and that's over 20 years. This is 10 years, and every one of these increases is over 1%. I know even in 2022, it was 4.5%. In 2023, it was 7%. We never took on any of these increases that everyone else has been taking on. You know, and so like I said, if y'all don't want to make a decision tonight, that's fine. We can move to another meeting. Y'all can think about it. Like I said, if y'all want to get some feedback, I'm open for this. Like I said, we've just been working on this a long time. We have a lot of property. People think Parker's small. We still have a lot of property that hasn't been.
Hang on a second. What did you come up with, sir?
20-year mortgage, 6%, it's $71 difference
A month.
310 versus 300. I could do it 30.
So it increases the mortgage by $70.
a month.
10-year mortgage.
20-year mortgage.
20-year mortgage, 30-year mortgage.
Of course, what it impacts is the retail price of the house, not the overall monthly payment. That's whatever the mortgage company and the builder come up with a final price. But so you're saying just if you just finance that amount, that's how much it would be. $71 a month for 20 years.
On a $310,000.
Oh, it's figured on 310. Okay,
30 years,
$60.
then on 30 years.
Council, this is what I think. I think we could think about it all you want to think, but I think we need to be thinking about what the future is going to be. And
I mean, we have a lot of space here in Parker for all these businesses to come
we have a
into.
lot of space.
And my personal opinion, I think we go ahead and nip it in the butt now
Yeah,
before they do start rolling in.
Yeah, I
because
wish
just
we'd done
like
it-
He was saying,
yeah,
those apartments that are being built,
yeah.
and then, I mean, you got a lot of open property down Tyndall Parkway.
But once that SRF money goes into play and the pipe is laid on Tyndall Parkway, you're going to see construction on the left side of the road. I promise you. From the base of the bridge all the way to the old La Brisa, you're going to see construction down there. People are telling me they're going to build right there.
I'd like to make a motion for Mr. Sloan to look into language if we need to do to approve
I'll make a
this.
second on that one.
Thank you, John. Thank Kate. Mr. Sloan, is that something you can do?
Yes, sir.
You can? Okay, we need to.
No, no. Mayor, I
Yes.
will just say one thing too. While he's working on that, if any of y'all have any questions or concerns before y'all adopt that, please come see me.
Oh, we won't adopt it till you tell us.
Well, I know, I mean, but if you have something you wanna.
'Cause we gotta have
talk
someone we gotta hold
someone has
accountable.
concern,
What's wrong?
Come see me.
Call the roll, please. I have to send someone around your house, come see you.
Miss Barrow. Miss Barrow.
Yes.
Okay. Miss Bodiford.
Yes.
Mr. Chapel.
Yes.
Mr. Haney.
Yes.
And Mayor Kelly.
Yes, very much so. Thank you, council. I know we made a right decision.
Is the last time that they were here, isn't that the time that they brought the, water to the council?
It
And y'all
was.
voted to increase it 10%?
No, we voted to do the repairs to the system. Didn't we, Tom? That's what that was?
So, being you brought that up, let me talk on that. So Mr. Nally came and assessed our water system, told us what it was worth, gave us basically a grade on everything that we needed to fix, everything we needed to change, what was bad in the system and what it was worth. He will be coming back, probably about 3 weeks or so, to do the sewer assessment. I asked him to come back and assess every manhole in the city, assess all the lift stations, assess all the gravity. So then he'll basically give you a grade of what our sewer infrastructure looks like. And so, like I said, these impact fees also can be used to fix the manholes, fix the sewer pipes. We had 210 feet of one that collapsed because of ductile iron. So these fees can be used to fix that infrastructure and improve it. He will be coming back, just to let you know, in about 3 weeks to give you all another presentation on what the sewer system looks like.
I think it's fair to say, Mr. Summerlin, that the money that we would generate from this new construction, from this new levy, would be used for the pre-existing pipes. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Chapel, you have anything you'd like to talk about?
I thought you had something.
You had other items.
Oh, what?
The fire chief.
I haven't got to that yet. I was gonna go fourth, items from the mayor. Yeah, okay, we can discuss it as item 4. So we put we get these packages out about a week early now, rather than being late. They're early, and so this one wasn't put on there in a timely manner. It's my fault for not getting it from him, and I'd hoped he was going to be here tonight. But as you know, council, huh?
We both are.
He,
Jimmy's sitting directly in front of me, sir.
oh, I see. I can't see him behind this guy. Hey, Jim. So. About 3 weeks ago, we received a letter from Chief Patterson telling us that he was no longer going to be the fire chief after the 1st of April. I gave it to the clerk. She put a copy in each of your boxes. Replacing the fire chief is a very difficult job. It's like replacing the police chief. It's also very hard. Trying to replace Mr. Sumlin would be very hard. But I have an opportunity to hire Mr. Jim Talley. He was your code officer, but prior to that, he spent 30 years with the Panama City Fire Department, and I know him to be an outstanding man. And I discussed this with him, and he is interested in accepting the position as fire chief if we vote to hire him for that position. And he would take care of the paid and the volunteer firefighters. He wouldn't necessarily take care of the corporate business, but he'd take care of the fire management, I guess would be the way to put it. So I asked him to be here tonight, and I wanted to tell you guys that we have this opportunity, and I think, I don't know that we couldn't get a better person. Jim brings with him 30 years at the Panama City Fire Department. He was a battalion chief when he retired. He was in charge of inspections, and there's many things that he can do currently that the outgoing chief doesn't have time to do. And
Is this a paid? Is this the paid?
it's a paid chief, but he said he'd cover both. So in other words, he wouldn't necessarily handle the corporate part of the volunteer fire department, but he'd handle the management of the staff when we're fighting fires and what have you. Mr. Patterson,
Can I speak, please?
briefly.
I don't want to say that. I want you guys.
I don't want you to molest the lady's computer. Just come up here.
All right. So I did put my letter in. I don't want people to think anything going on. I know how this town runs with rumors, and it's amazing. But the reason why I put my letter in is I want to raise my son. I have a full-time job. I work 40 to 50 hours a week. I'd love to raise my son when I get home. I don't have the time that I did when I took the position 4 years ago. I now have a family, and I'd like to raise them. So there's no other reasons why I'm stepping down, aside from the fact that I just want to be a dad and be present in my son's life and not worry about the fire department, my ongoing job, and everything. So I don't want anyone to say anything or any rumors or anything like that.
I'm
That's
sure
what
they
the
will.
truth is.
I'm sure there will be. Now you've said that. But yes,
You just wanna be a dad.
Well, on that, I make a motion, we hire, Mr. Jimmy Talley as our fire chief.
okay. We got a first and a second. Any conversation, guys? Anything?
Well,
Take-
I was thinking maybe Mr. CJ can just buy a small fire hat for his son, he can bring him to the
Yeah.
auxiliary fireman.
Yeah, auxiliary.
Isn't that child labor?
You call the roll, please.
Certainly. Miss Barrow?
Yes.
Miss Boderford?
Yes.
Mr. Chapel?
Yes.
Mr. Haney?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Very much, yes. Thank you, ma'am. Does anybody have anything you'd like to discuss before we adjourn? I was surprised the meeting went as fast as it did tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.